What's going on, everybody? My name is Zach Crab. So I'm pretty excited about this little project. I've always dreamed of having a place to go and kind of experience things. Well, throughout my childhood, my parents, friends and family, things like that, even through school, people had taken me to places where I got to learn cool things and experience cool things. I always liked the museum, but you weren't ever able to touch anything. You weren't able to experience it. Well, my friends and family, parents, all of those guys, they had brought me to these places, and I didn't even realize that they were a type of museum. You can go throughout Colorado, throughout many states, and go to what's called an open air museum. And that was my dream. Not too long ago, I went to the museum here in Denver, and they had a Vikings exhibit. I've been into Norse culture for such a long time. It's kind of a passion of mine. So I thought, I wish that this Vikings exhibit could be year-round, all the time. Everybody could experience it. I think I went 2 or 3 times, and took my kids, and I had a blast, and I learned something new every day. They had actors there who would interact with you. You could ask them questions, and I really grilled them. Everything I knew, I really grilled them. And I thought, what a cool experience. How awesome. I wish this could be around all the time. Everybody could experience it. And then, about a month or 2 ago, I thought, why not? Why can't I do this? Yes, there's a lot of complicated issues. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of work to be done. But the Norse took buildings and they built them by hand with very little knowledge. You know, they're not building skyscrapers or things like that. So these are things that I can do. These are things that I built when I was a kid. You know, they do things like wattle and daub. So essentially what you do is you make a mortar out of, this stuff's around us all the time. So you make a mortar out of manure and straw, essentially, right? And that's your mortar, right? And the wattle is essentially willow sprigs that you weave in and out of posts. And then you put your mortar on it, and that's your walls. That's one way that the Norse built. The other thing is they basically took timbers and they milled them and they tacked them up to where it's kind of like this, right? These are things that if anybody put their mind to it, they could do it. So I thought, why not me? Why don't I do this? This is awesome. Why can't I do this? Well, the biggest thing is money. So I decided to make a GoFundMe. And that's what this video is about right now. I'm in talks with some people to make a mead hall. I want to make a bunch of different buildings. And there is an open air museum similar to what I want to do. I'll put a link on this video as well as the GoFundMe page, and you can go visit that and kind of see what I'm talking about. I just think it would be awesome if people around the world, especially the US, were able to experience these things. The only problem is I need funding. Now, I've got a little bit of backlash from some people, and they said, "Hey, look, you don't know what you're doing. It's not planned enough." Well, that's kind of the fun part about GoFundMe is people like to see from the beginning to the end. They want to see you go from semi-unplanned to what it's evolved into. So currently we're coming up with a list of the things that we actually need. Through my rough research and rough estimates, we're looking about $300,000 to create these buildings and actually buy the land for them. The first building I want to work on is a mead hall. Now, for those of you who don't know, kings and important people would have their own mead hall, and anytime they had guests or parties or things like that, they would have these, extravagant meals and things like that, and they would entertain them in these mead halls. I'd like it to be built as traditionally as possible, but it's all dependent on the funds. Traditional building, a lot of it is you would take lumber and they would split it like this, and then you take another piece, boom, right, and then you have a pin, a wooden pin that would go right through there holding the two pieces together. That's very time consuming and very expensive. I'm working out the kinks and working out quotes with various different companies, because most buildings nowadays are stick frame buildings. 2x4s, you put them together and you build the house. I'm currently working with some people to get some quotes on timber frame buildings, which is essentially the same thing, minus the ancient technique of the wooden pins and notching the wood together so it fits together. So it's some more modern stuff. If it's cheaper and we're able to get something as close as possible, I'd like to do at least timber frame, and then we could build the walls ourselves and that sort of thing. So we're going to come up with a list of things that we actually need. We're trying to figure out, is it more efficient and more cost effective if we get our own mill? Is it, do we need to get a tractor? Are we getting our own general contractor? Those types of things. So I'm super excited about this stuff. I don't want to keep anybody in the dark. I do appreciate everybody who's been talking to me about these things, sharing my posts, sharing the video. Go ahead and share this video. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to contact me. This is for the GoFundMe to build a Norse or Viking open air museum, hopefully in Colorado. I'm really excited about this project, guys. I appreciate everybody who shared the link, and keep up with us. I'll be posting a list soon of the things we actually need for this to happen, and hopefully you guys are on board. Keep sharing, keep tuned. We'll talk to you soon.